Hi everyone, and welcome to today's instructional video. Today we are going to be talking about arguments, using evidence, and how we write our body paragraphs. Remember, your 5-paragraph argumentative essay is made up of one intro, 3 body paragraphs, and then a conclusion. So this might just be the most important video in this instructional video series, so pay close attention. Remember, we are working at creating coherent and well-supported arguments, and evidence is a huge part of that. So here is how we use evidence in our body paragraphs. We can either take something that is factual that helps prove our point and introduce it with an introductory phrase. So, for example, according to an article from the Washington Post, perishable food is actually safe to eat for 4 hours at room temperature. My underlined portion here, the according to the article from the Washington Post, that's my introductory phrase. You could also say the Washington Post states that blah, 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 blah. And here, since I didn't include quotes, you can infer that I'm summarizing, I'm paraphrasing what they said. You can also include direct quotes if you'd like, right? Now, another way of doing this, sort of a fancier way, in fact, is by citing the text using parenthetical citations. Remember, citing is just giving credit to the person whose idea it is, and parenthetical refers to parentheses. So here, I have the same evidence. Perishable food is actually safe to eat for up to 4 hours when stored at room temperature, but then I include the author's last name in parentheses, and after my parentheses end, I put a period, okay? Take a look at how these look different and how they read differently too, okay? Now, it's important that either way you explain how your evidence proves your claim is right. So, for this fake argument I made up, the evidence is real, but the argument's fake. Given that food can be left out for quite a while without being dangerous, restaurants are being overly cautious and wasteful by throwing food out after 45 minutes. I don't know if restaurants actually do that, but after I have my piece of evidence, I need to explain it, because what if they're like, okay, so what? You want to pretend that your reader is a little bit dumb, so you need to explain and make that jump for them. Now, a couple of things that we want to understand about evidence. The entire reason we're including it is because without it, without evidence, you're just like a rando shouting into the void where you're like, I think this. No one cares. So when you bring in that relevant evidence, when you actually support your argument, your reader might just be persuaded to join your side. And if they thought something previously, but they had no evidence to support it, your side looks a little stronger, right? Your argument strengthens. Now, I want to go ahead and move on to what our body paragraphs should look like. So, body paragraphs are those 3 paragraphs after our intro that cover the reasons we listed off in our thesis statement. Remember, your thesis is just that claim with the 3 main reasons. So, each of those main reasons gets its own paragraph. So, there's an easy formula you can follow if you want to go ahead and write these. So, first, we start off with the topic sentence. You're stating the key argument for that paragraph. So, if I'm writing that mosquitoes should be eradicated because they are gross, they are dirty, and they create disease, my first paragraph is going to restate mosquitoes should be eradicated because they're gross, right? That's my topic sentence. My reader knows what they're going to read about in this paragraph. Step 2 is to provide the evidence and explain all of it. So you're looking for facts, statistics, quotes that support your claim, and then you need to explain how it does. It's not enough to just say, well, 78% of mosquitoes carry a disease. Why do we care? Okay, so the mosquitoes are diseased. It's only when you explain that, oh, they can pass those diseases on to us and that can make us really sick. That's when your reader's going to care, okay? Now, step 3 is sort of optional. You can always include a concluding sentence where you sort of summarize what you said in that paragraph and you kind of get us ready for the next argument, the next key piece of information that supports your argument. You kind of get us ready for the next one. So, here for that mosquito argument is a body paragraph. I want you to go ahead and read through this. I'm going to stop you, go ahead, pause the video, and read through. Now, I'm going to start by annotating this so we can kind of break this down. In red, I am going to underline our topic sentence. So, First, eliminating mosquitoes could help us save money and boost the economy. That is what this paragraph is all going to be about, right? This is my first key reason. So I've got my first topic sentence. That's how I start off. And I even have this beautiful transition with first. But now I need to go into evidence and explanations. And I'm going to underline these in blue. So in 2016, Americans spent nearly $62 million on insect repellent, and Medicaid agencies shelled out over $5 million to cover repellents. And then I even have an author's name. So because I have facts and statistics and like numbers here and a citation, I know that this is evidence. And that citation really helps me know it. I know the author's last name is Dixon. They use that parenthetical one. While this may be good news to repellent manufacturers, the money spent on controlling mosquitoes could be going to other businesses such as grocery stores, parks, outdoor recreation activities, and wildlife programs. Wow. So this helps explain why that money being spent on insect repellents is like so important to us, right? We could be using that money for other better things rather than just like boring spray that goes on us, right? Furthermore, federal, state, and local governments often have their own mosquito control programs, which can cost billions. In Florida alone, about $160 million is spent each year on mosquito control. And look, I have another parenthetical citation. So I'm going to go ahead and underline that to show that that's more evidence. And see, they're paraphrasing here. They're not even quoting people. Interesting. This can help you kind of maintain a tone and make sure it stays in your voice. And then we can anticipate that they are also going to explain that evidence. This money could be saved and diverted to other government programs or policies if mosquitoes were eradicated. So they're explaining why that money matters. Beautiful. So I'm going to highlight it in pink or underline it in pink to show you that that is explanation. So you can kind of see this pattern, right? Topic, sentence, evidence, explain. Evidence, explain. And you could always do the optional like conclusion sentence, right? All right, let's go ahead and move forward. Now, I want you to dive in to this second body, or this actually ends up being this. Yeah, this is the second body paragraph. Tell me what my topic sentence is. All right, what kind of citation type does this use? How does this give the evidence? All right, nice. Now, how many pieces of evidence does this paragraph have? Okay, let's take a look at ourselves. All right, so there are a total of 17 diseases mosquitoes carry, and some of these diseases can even cause death to humans and livestock. That sounds like evidence to me. That's a reason to agree with them. They can spread disease. And here's even more. Mosquitoes infect about 700 million people with some type of disease, often leading to death. And then look, I have my parenthetical citation. Although most deaths are in sub-Saharan Africa, mosquitoes can carry disease around the world and exist on many continents. The most deadly disease that mosquitoes carry is malaria, killing 500,000 people each year. There's more evidence. So it looks like here the author opted to do a bunch of evidence and then explain in one line. This is too many lives lost for a creature that has no or very few redeeming qualities. Getting rid of mosquitoes would not just save on medical bills, it would save lives. Awesome. So we only have one explanation here, but we have a whole lot of evidence. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and keep rocking and rolling. Now, in your third body paragraph, most of the time, this is where we're going to make space for a chance to show the people who think differently than you how wrong they are. This is called a counterclaim. Remember, the most effective arguments don't just prove that they're right, they also say, hey, I'm reasonable enough to acknowledge that there's another side that people think this way, but they're still wrong. Okay? It's called a counterclaim, a counterargument. So here is a formula for a really solid counterargument. You acknowledge what the other side thinks, like what is one of their arguments against you. You respond with how they're wrong, especially if you use words like however and although, because you sound super profesh, But you're like saying, oh, you're wrong, unfortunately. And then you provide the evidence, right? If you're just like, well, they're wrong. Okay, tell me how. Prove it. So we prove them wrong with that evidence. Okay. So here is a sample counter argument. We've got our third paragraph for our mosquitoes argumentative essay, where they say, mosquitoes indeed play a part in the ecosystem and food chain. They're kind of anticipating that, like, the other side's going to be like, but they're an animal and they deserve to live. And, like, they're part of the food chain. It's super important. So that's my counterclaim, right? I have this idea that the other side thinks that mosquitoes are part of the ecosystem. They're important. They're part of nature. It says they do help pollinate certain flowers and are a source of food for a few species of animals. That continues the counterclaim. This could all be an argument for the other side. However, so now I've got a signal that we're switching to proving them wrong. No single flower would cease to exist if mosquitoes were eradicated. And of the few species that eat mosquitoes, mosquitoes only make up a small portion of their diet. So I've got me proving them wrong with evidence, right? And we've got our parenthetical citation. Neither plant nor animal would go extinct if mosquitoes were no longer around. And many ecologists and scientists acknowledge that any void left by eliminating mosquitoes would easily be fixed by other organisms. Boom. There's another piece of evidence, and I also kind of explain, wrong color. And I also kind of explain here that, like, well, nothing's going to get hurt if they die. In general, the impact of eliminating mosquitoes would be, like, slightly bothersome but easily fixed. So I acknowledge that the other side believes mosquitoes are part of the food chain. And then I'm like, not really, though. All right. Okay, let's keep moving. So your next step is actually to learn about conclusions. And if you want to look at your mentor texts to look at how they set up their counter argument, I think that's a great idea. Remember, it's basically just about saying the other side thinks this, but unfortunately they're wrong, right? All right, let's go ahead and move on. Bye.